The following video is by the Dark Conservatarian. If you like it, be sure to subscribe to him, link in the description. And a reminder that patrons who donate at the Super VIP level or higher are entitled to have one video mirrored on my channel per month, no questions asked. Without further ado, here's the Dark Conservatarian.
Thank you as always, 2 cents. Now, for clarity's sake, this is just a highlight compilation of the original video. The stuff I edited out was probably some stuff I didn't need to include in the original video anyway, but also some of it is stuff that might be substantively relevant or intriguing or just entertaining to some people. Also bleeped out the curse words. So I welcome everybody who gets done watching this shortened down version to go ahead and watch the fuller, uncensored version after this. Now without further ado, let's start the video. Detractors.
This is blatant softcore CP, and anyone who defends this is a pedo or pedo enabler. No child should ever be sexualized. You can make a movie without sexualizing minors because the ends don't justify the means.
Yes. Well, hello darkness, my old friend. I've come to kick your again, as by popular request by everyone who voted in my poll asking what fully involved video I should do next, as well as, like I said, being informed by this that Khadija is a supposedly intelligent Cuties defender. I thought it'd only be worthwhile to revisit the topic of Cuties relatively briefly and respond to said intelligent Cuties defender. Because if you can beat the most intelligent of a group, then it only stands to reason that you've beaten at least a good chunk of the rest of that group and their arguments at large. Now, this is going to be a long one, and I don't want to hold it off for much longer before I drink myself into liver failure. So let's get into this.
Hello and welcome back to my channel.
Okay, before we go on any further, and since I've been accused of a second-rate YouTube channel in comparison to Khadija, I find that kind of ironic, seeing as how her mic quality is slightly subpar with how you can clearly hear the echo and reverberation off the walls in her room from her mic. And I know that may be a little ironic coming from me, considering how I have the bad habit of having the music too loud to where you can't— Holy crap! Why is the music so loud? There. Better. To where you can barely hear the dialogue in my video and the video I'm responding to, and I don't even realize it until sometime after I've posted said video. But I'm trying, people. I'm trying to get better, at least.
Because I think we've had enough time to digest. Not enough, but enough, you know?
No, I don't know. Because quite frankly, I don't think it should take that much time to digest the issue of Cuties. Oh, it's a movie that is made via the sexualization of a handful of preteens? Digestion over. Movies are moral trash.
And you can argue all day long about,
well, I don't get that children should not be in.
Watch the video first.
Okay, fuck you too, bitch. The moment you mock concerns about child sexualization, you lost. You have completely lost the plot.
Okay, watch the video. Why do you want to be mad? Why do you just want to stay mad? Why? Why?
Because it is child sexualization, you out of touch. What, do you think that pedophilia is not a big deal?
Why stay mad when you can stay peaceful?
You know what? You're right. Why should I ever make content again responding to pedophilia apologists and similar scum when that causes me to lose more and more of my soul addressing such debauchery? Yeah, you would like that, wouldn't you?
Why not? Just watch the video with an open mind, a somewhat open heart, because it's harder to open our hearts, I get it, and our minds actually, but try it, and choose peace and accepting new knowledge as opposed to choosing rage and anger and staying on that low frequency. That is exhausting. Aren't y'all tired? Aren't you tired?
Aren't y'all tired? Can't you just calm down? See, I'm being nice and calm as I am telling y'all how child sexualization in the making of movies is just fine and dandy.
The backlash came later, in the culture war capital of the world, the United States. Now, I can't only blame culture wars as the reason this got blown so out of proportion, because Netflix was really part of the problem.
One thing that doesn't make sense to me about the marginally less extreme Cuties defenders is that they'll condemn the poster that Netflix made and used for the promotion of this, but not the movie itself, for showing off a bunch of preteen girls for dressing sexually. I understand that their own appropriate supposed reasoning for it is different, but still, Maimouna Ducour should not be showing off a bunch of scantily dressed preteen girls to the general public just as much as Netflix should not be, regardless of what their own claimed reasoning is for doing it.
Here is the original French poster. Here is Netflix's poster. Obviously, this poster and this description were not a good look.
And how is the movie showing the exact same shit, sometimes even a bit worse than that, not just as bad?
And as a result, people freaked the fuck out. People all over Twitter were calling for the film to be boycotted, yelling at Netflix, saying that they were, quote, groomers.
I don't think that's quite right. I mean, Netflix is terrible in their own sort of way, but I think that the actual groomers is Maimouna and her film crew.
And then, of course, you had Republican politicians.
It's not just Republicans, Catty Pie. Well-known Democrat Tulsi Gabbard came out against the movie when the controversy was still fresh, as well as multiple other leftist YouTubers like Shoeonhead, and to attempt to take even more of the partisan politics out of this, I conducted a poll back in 2020 asking for people's beliefs on the political spectrum and what their thoughts were, and a super majority of the responding leftists disapproved of this piece of movie too.
And Tessa Thompson said this: Cuties is a beautiful film. It gutted me at Sundance Fest. It introduces a fresh voice at the helm. She's a French, Senegalese black woman mining her experiences.
I don't care if she's an alien from an all-powerful alien race from the Andromeda Galaxy who's threatening us that if we don't accept her and her pedo bait movie, she's gonna wipe us all out with her Death Star beam. This movie is a moral trash and should not be condoned in society, and y'all can piss off with all the playing of identity politics. The fact that she's black and has a vagina doesn't make this quote-unquote achievement any greater, and it certainly doesn't shield her and her excuse of a movie from condemnability.
The film comments on the hypersexualization of pre-adolescent girls,
whilst stupidly and ironically enough, sexualizing pre-adolescent girls. Don't you think that you could make a movie commenting on the sexualization of pre-adolescent girls without sexualizing your pre-adolescent girl actresses? Considering the fact that something like that can be done, and in fact has been done before, what point is there to defending this movie specifically? Why defend a movie that is supposedly against child sexualization, but also sexualizes real life children?
Disappointing to see the current discourse. This type of mess, though, was one of the worst kinds, I think, because people were participating in something that they didn't have any information on, or the correct information.
Were they? I mean, I'm sure that there's plenty of people who were saying that the movie shown Ami literally showing her junk to the camera within the scene of her snapping a pic of it, whereas the sources I trust, who are anti-cuties and have seen the movie for themselves, confirm that they didn't actually show her groin, among other misconstrues as well. And I'm not going to condone that, but as a YouTuber who's on the front lines of this debate, I'll take whatever support we can get. Also, everyone who's against this movie doesn't need to know or see every little thing about it to be against it for legitimate reasons. The most that they'll have to know about is all the footage showcasing the actresses dressing scantily and dancing sexually, like gyrating their bottoms, spanking each other's butts, twerking their asses, doing a stroking motion, and a lot of it
while the camera zooms in on it.
With that summary, we can all safely disregard everything else irrelevant about the movie and focus our ire on the blatant child sexualization that Maimouna and her crew do to make this.
And I know that that's most mess, let's be honest, but a lot of people review bombing the movie that they haven't even seen yet.
Good! Let the bad impressions abound with this movie.
And immediately going off of all of this based off of a poster and a synopsis that weren't actually even accurate to the film. I was really disappointed as well, like I said, when I was on YouTube watching all of this happen, because so many people were just jumping on the clicks and views bandwagon of bashing it, not knowing, again, what the movie was actually about, and especially not having seen it.
Catty Poo, are you retarded or a lying piece of shit? Charlie stated in his video that he at least watched part of it. D'Angelo clearly stated that he watched it. Elvis the Alien said, and I quote, "I watched the movie." Plantation Soup implied that he watched it. And Ready to Glare even stated in her f***ing video title that she too watched the f***ing movie, you f***ing moron.
Some even encouraging people not to even bother seeing it, that the poster was enough for them to know that it was a bad film, and it was like, no, 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 oh God, what?
Never have I ever been more disgusted at the sassy black woman personality than now when that stereotypical archetype is being played up in the defense of softcore child porn.
The terror within, however, is a lot messier. It's Jung's shadow self. It's us turning around and looking at the darkest parts of ourselves.
You just really love to hear yourself talk, don't you?
Confronting those parts, sifting through the mess, and really asking ourselves, how good are we?
Are you ever going to provide examples of supposed hypocritical Cuties detractors, or are you just running off of some theoretical hypocritical Cuties detractors that might exist?
It's what we do and sometimes don't do on a daily basis to actually protect the children so many people are going on about.
Still no examples, she's just repeating herself. But allow me to take the time to address the whataboutism about toddlers and tiaras, dance moms, and other risque child pageants that Cuties defenders have brought up before, as if that's some kind of justification for the existence of Cuties. The question I gotta ask, is there anyone actually defending those shows? See, the impression I've had since the beginning of this controversy was that those shows were already getting shellacked long before Cuties was made and released, just that the publicity of both the criticism and the shows themselves is not as widespread. The only reason why Cuties is such a big subject of debate and people are so outspoken against it is because, one, the corporate backing of it by the biggest pioneer in movie streaming services, and two, Cuties has far more defenders than those other shows.
The characters in this film were 11, so it's very easy and clear to say they're too young to be sexualized. Evil was out, and I hate to be the one to say it.
What you meant to say was that the actresses are too young to be sexualized, but you still admit that they're sexualized and that it's an evil, yet you still act like it's fine. See why I call you an out-of-touch?
But we don't think twice when grown folks playing teenagers on TV shows are having sex because they're adults.
She finally gets it!
But they're still playing teenagers.
No, of course she doesn't, or else I wouldn't be here right now. That's the most retarded point ever. That's like saying we don't get upset at violence being shown on screen because it's all simulated violence with a whole bunch of fake blood and special or practical effects, but still showing violence. It's called faking the act. You Nimrod.
We're still watching the implications of teens having sex, no matter how old the actors are.
The implications are there, but they are not actually showing two teenagers having sex with each other. You numbskull.
But because the actors aren't teens, there's this mental, plausible deniability there that we can all justify in our heads, so we don't have to examine the terror within.
I'm calling bullshit on that general statement. If people really are walking away from an anti-child sexualization movie learning absolutely nothing purely just because the kid characters were played by adults, they're idiots. But I'm calling bullshit on that statement of cat heads being a generally true thing to be present. But if you're gonna still be insistent that you need to have kids be played by kids in order for the brevity of the situation in the movie to get through, well, Exhibit A, Beasts of No Nation. In case none of you have seen it, let me give you my synopsis, because I've seen the movie and it's honestly a great movie, but not be for everyone because honestly it ends pretty depressingly. Beast of No Nation centers on a preteen boy named Agu who gets throttled out of his regular child life and then drafted by Idris Elba to fight in this civil war that takes place in Sierra Leone. It takes place entirely in sub-Saharan Africa, so not a single non-black character shown in case any of you want to obsess about racial identity still. I don't even think any of the UN soldiers who come in at the end of the movie are not black. Though the movie barely has any women featured in it, let alone taking a central role, and the director is of Japanese descent, not black, so with all that in mind, maybe some of you will idiotically dismiss the movie, but you, hear me out. Agu has a bit of his own coming-of-age story. He's rushed through it too as he sees the horrors of war and other dark things to where he needs to adapt and learn to become a hardened man or else die. By the end of the movie, when he's talking to the therapist lady who's around 15 years older than him, he says in his mind,
Amy, she thinks that my not speaking is because I can't be explaining myself like baby. But I am not like baby. I am like old man. And she's like small girl. Because I am fighting in war. And she's not even knowing what war is.
And there's one part in the midpoint of the movie where the Commandant, played by Idris Elba, manipulates him into giving him a blowjob. You know how they portrayed that scene? The Commandant takes a sniff of coke, lies on the couch, says, "I love you, Agu," tells him to come to him, and then it cuts away to Agu's friend waiting outside, and then Agu himself comes walking out all traumatized and shit, with some phenomenal acting on the part of Abraham Adda, the actor for Agu. They did not show anything sexual, but you still get the brevity of the situation through some great acting, some dialogue, and a camera cutaway that just well implies it all enough. But no, apparently according to Khadija Mbowe, the only way for you to get the brevity of the situation is if they actually shown Abraham Adda giving Idris Elba a BJ. I'm sure she'd say that's not actually her belief, but whether she realizes it or not, that's what the logical entailment of her argument is. Going on about how because they had adults playing as teenagers having sex with each other instead of having teenagers playing as teenagers having sex with each other, therefore you don't get the self-reflection of looking at the terror within. F*** you, Khadija. F*** you. And before I carry on, there's two more people I need to address. My formerly favorite average Joe Schmo Canadian commentator duo, Abba and Preach. I actually had the idea long ago to point out Beasts of No Nation to attack Khadija's pro-Cuties arguments. But imagine how I was to find these guys utilizing Beasts of No Nation as well, but in such a completely twisted manner to defend Cuties.
I remember watching Beasts of No Nation, and there's a scene where Idris Elba takes one of the child soldiers and says, "Come to my room." And basically, he's gonna get one of the child soldiers that he just used to massacre a village to basically give him some top. And the scene is slowly built up. You don't see anything explicitly, but you understand what he's gonna do to that child.
Which is exactly the point. They didn't actually show anything, so therefore, no harm, no foul.
YouTubers actually like and who do good content. We're so lazy with the response to this movie. I'm not here to try to have an edgy opinion.
No.
I was ready to hate it.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, we're going in on this. You want me to watch it? You want me to watch it?
This
I'll
sounds like
watch
such
it.
a slam dunk. And then I watch it. I'm like, but I can't lie to you guys. I can't sit here and not tell you what I'm actually thinking when I'm watching. I'm like, even though I don't like this movie, this is clearly not what you guys are claiming it is.
I think it's I thought it was a good movie. Yeah. I'm gonna tell you like that because it depicts reality. It's an 11-year-old, and they look 11, and that's cringe.
Comment down below if you want me to do a fuller response video to Abba and Preach on Cuties. Back to Khadija.
The terror within that we are part of the problem, that we are complicit until it doesn't serve us, that we're the ones who create a world where young girls feel like they need to be more sexually voracious or act like adult women, even at the tender age of 11, as the film depicts.
If this is supposed to be some argument of hypocrisy, it fails. On average, adults make sexual videos for themselves and other adults around them. Not so much for the intended purpose of kids watching them. If kids are getting their curious eyes on such content and stupidly enough getting the impression, oh, I should be like that, I should be a too, realize that's on them and not as much on any conscious intended effort of any adult, much less any adult who isn't the guardian of said kid. Of course, parents should, actually parent their kids and prevent them from watching such. still does not justify Ducour directing the girls to dress and dance like scamps.
The terror within that we are just as responsible for Cuties as the director was.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Thank you as always, 2 Cents, for re-uploading my video. And again, if there's anyone, both Cuties detractors and or defenders alike, who think I left out some vital point of Khadija's, watch the full or uncensored version where I did respond to more of her video, both the relevant and some of the repetitive. Regardless, thank you all for watching, and don't forget to go ahead and check out my channel and subscribe to it, and may all have a Merry Christmas, and God bless.